I don't think we're living in the same America like our parents or our grandparents are living in, even in today's time. Like, I think we coexist in some sort of parallel environment between us, millennials, Gen Zs, compared to, the baby boomers or Generation Y, you know, coexisting all in the same time frame, 2026. And I'm saying that because there's certain things that our parents have done or are doing, or our grandparents have done or are doing, and it doesn't resonate or make sense to us. There's some things that our parents or our grandparents will tell us to do or is telling us to do, and it doesn't make sense or resonate with us. And we're all in the same timeline. You guys get what I'm saying? Because there's things that our parents and our grandparents have done and we're told to do, to where certain stuff worked for them. Certain longevity happened, you know. But the stuff that we were taught to do prior in the past, 20, 30, 40 years ago, we were moved to do, it's not working. Some of us are actually taking a step back. They tell us go right to college after high school. Get you a degree. Then you go right to get a job. You know, any college graduate with at least a bachelor's should start easily making 40 to 50K. And let's separate that. 40 to 50K nowadays is damn near poverty. So again, right, late 90s, early 2000s, going to college, getting a degree to make 40 to 50K, you're getting your life set up. I mean, 40 to 50K entry level, I'll say 12 to 15 years ago, guys, was still pretty good. Very good. 40 to 50K, that's barely enough for rent or overhead. So there's like, that's just one out of the million, examples. There's a time shift that happened. It happened, guys. It happened in numerous amount of times. These shifts happen, right? It happened with the entertainment industry booming, right? Late 80s, early 90s. It happened when the internet came booming, right? Early 2000s. Social media was coming public, right? 05 to 2010, and at the same time of the economic housing bust, right? One of the recessions that a lot of people still couldn't ever recover from. Then you got the wage labor, or the inflation matched with the lack of wage increasing happening in the 2010s. And then you got the shift with more of the music entertainment scene mixing now with social media, and different people wanted to aspire, different kids, right? My age group and younger wanted to aspire to be certain things, because you got the music industry mixing with social media and the internet. And now we're in a climate, or right before this, now we're in a climate where we're in the post-COVID era, where shit just got shut down. So people's career changed, people went into debt, people started businesses and thrived. People were able to buy homes, people were able to sell homes and thrive and retire off of selling their home. People had to quit jobs and start new jobs. People had to go back to school to get new trades. Like, all these shifts happened, fairly back to back, And so there's a lot of change happening. There's a lot of dynamics to both living, and increasing in quality of life. There's a lot of dynamics happening. There's a lot of dynamics that has happened to where life is so different than what my in-laws and my parents experienced. It truly is. This is not the same America that our parents live in. It's not. We're going through different things. So why am I saying this? Why does this matter? It's because we have to know how to adapt. We have to know and understand that these time shifts, you know, it affects us, right? Generation Z and millennials, it affects us. Because we're gonna be doing the same thing that our parents and grandparents are doing, and it's not gonna make sense. We're gonna be doing the same thing that our peer groups are doing, right? And it's not gonna make sense. So I want y'all to understand that, like, you know, we're going through certain things because we haven't adapted to the change. We're going through certain things because we just think if we just keep our head down, right, and work more, and slave more, and just do the same repetitive stuff, be around the same people, be in the same environment, things are gonna look up for us. And now we got my age group and younger, right? Around that 25, I'll say maybe 22, 23 to like 40-year-old group, 45, you know, that maybe range, I don't know. Struggling, hurting, dying, literally. Cancers, sicknesses. Our parents and grandparents weren't experiencing these illnesses that we're getting at our age. You guys get what I'm saying? So there's different things we have to now do and prepare for. Life has become more volatile and dynamic. The stuff that we've done in the past, we can't do anymore. The stuff that we thought we had to do in the past, right? Or that we thought we have to do, that we think that we have to do now, we got to change that. Because we're gonna start reaping those consequences of thinking that, you know, we can adapt. We don't have to adapt with the times. We don't have to do a shift. We don't have to make a move, and we do. Y'all want to live nice and have a decent quality of life. Nobody's talking about being rich and being the most liked and being famous. We're not talking about none of that. Just living as easy as we can. We got to adapt. We got to change things. People think staying on a job for 10 to 15 years or attempting to, like if they had that control, because these jobs won't even allow you to do that anymore. You know, they're not allowing people to do that. But if people are thinking they could just stay on a job and move up, no, we got to change that idea that we have of job or corporate security, 9-to-5 security. That doesn't exist. It existed with our parents and our grandparents, where people got 401ks, Social Security, and pensions. And some of them got all three, depending on the job, you know, field that they had and, you know, opportunities, of course. But that stuff was more normal. A pension, they're not giving away free money. Because you see what's happening? In today's society, in our lifetime, millennials and Gen Zs, our Social Security is leaving from us. We may not even see it. You guys get what I'm saying? So we're working, thinking we're going to be doing the same thing. Reaping the same benefits, and we're not. This is what I'm talking about. Buying a home is becoming much harder than it was years ago. Home buyers are turning into their 40s, late 30s from buying their first home, even at its lowest purchase amount. People still can't save for retirement properly. Stuff that we were taught in the past to do now concurrently is not working. It's not working. And it's not even not working. it's adversely working against us, you know? Relationships, how we're meeting people, the social climate, the social society. It's working against us, how we're doing things, guys. You know, it's different. It's different. The 30 to 40-year gap that we have between our parents and grandparents, it's a different way of life. It's a different way of thinking. So that's why we got to be careful who we take advice from and who we listen to, even if it's people that we know, even if it's our relatives, because there's a different way of life that people do. And again, I say this and I end on here. There's going to be a different way of life that your neighbors do, that your peer groups do, even if they're in the same demographic, because life is life, right? Life has an indefinite amount of paths you should take. And you have to be analytical and have discernment on what path you should take or what path you should create. We have to maybe create our own paths now, instead of taking like a default, choice A through Z. We gotta create a new letter. You guys get what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense. Like we can't follow the same routes that has been paved all the way, because we have to keep attacking the system and the formulas that it promotes stagnant movements. It promotes plateau. And so if we don't adapt and create and be proactive instead of retroactive, we're gonna be stuck, sick, miserable, docile, uneducated, unfed, and unwell. That's just it. And guys, we're seeing this today's time. So if this is your first time seeing Black, hit the sub, hit a like, leave a comment if I made sense. Leave a comment if you feel like the times has changed and life, even though we feel like we have more opportunities, it feel like it's harder to grasp those opportunities. It feel like it's harder to make ends meet. It feel like it's harder to get that American dream, the house, the family, the wife, husband, the dog, the fence, the job, the retirement. It's harder to get that. Do we even want that? What does that really mean in today's society? What is our goals? Do we even know what we want?